Welcome to our last panel, but not least, for the evening. My name is Marie, and I'm here on behalf of the Stanford team to welcome you to this very last panel. Panel 6 is on social activism, and it's going to be moderated by the lovely Maya Taro, who is a fellow from the 2014 AMENDS conference at Stanford. And Maya is working from Lebanon, and she is an incredible food activist and a hunger hero, self-claimed, and rescues food from going to waste. She is the co-founder and executive director of Food Blessed, and I'm pleased to welcome her to the stage to moderate the upcoming panel. Please give her a warm welcome.
Okay, so Dalai Lama once said, "It is not enough to be compassionate, you must act." And that's exactly what social activism is all about. Compaction, translating compassion into action, and yes, I just came up with this today. I think it's cool. And that's also, compaction is what Touria's, Ayaz's, Asma's, and Daniel's initiatives are all about, making the most out of ordinary circumstances in order to achieve the extraordinary. First up, I would like to invite my first speaker. Touria Benlafqih is project manager at Enactus. She is a social entrepreneur from Morocco, working mainly in youth empowerment and health. Could you please join me in inviting her on stage? Hello, everyone. Just join.
Okay, now?
Yeah.
Working. First of all, I am really sorry for the coughing all day. I can't really help it. I think I bothered a lot of you today. My name is Touria. I am from Morocco. And my project is called SIDE, Social Impact and Development Employment. And it's a recruiting agency for young people with volunteering experience. My company has two main goals. The first goal is to get more young people into volunteering as a learning experience, as like to gain life skills and new soft skills to get jobs easily. And the second goal is to convince recruiters to consider this volunteering experience as a working experience. As we know, a lot of recruiters only look for people with 2 years experience, so it's really hard for young people to get their first job. So this is why I'm starting my this is what SIDE is all about. One thing that I focus on, like my target population that I focus on is people who are not in high school and not in university. So I am focusing on people in vocational training or young people who are not studying, who are maybe working and do not have a high school degree, because they are the young people who are neglected, that no one is interested in this kind of people. And also, one thing that I need to tell you about is I am building a platform, and I'm still working on the algorithm, but the idea is to get each young person who wants to register on my platform to have like a kind of score, or how much of a volunteer you are, how strong of a volunteer you are, and then yeah, so young people can register, can have volunteering opportunities, they get better scores, and as higher the score is, as better your profile is for recruiters. So that's the main idea. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tureen. Next up is Ayaz Jalal Hazan. Ayaz is project manager at the Asuda organization. He is a business major student minoring in journalism and international studies. He is a feminist, which is awesome. And his initiative is at the core of his passion, which is human rights, and it revolves around gender-based violence and women protection. Ayaz, would you please join us on the stage?
Good evening. I know you are all tired, so I'm gonna make it very short. A friend of mine could not finish college, could not even go to college because she's a girl. Another one cannot walk on street alone because once upon a time she was sexually harassed. Gender-based violence is one of the most popular human rights violations across the globe. And one of 3 women have been harassed through their lifetime. Gender-based violence is one of the main problems that ASUDA is working on, the organization that I'm working with. To work with this, ASUDA provides legal, psychological, and social support for women. And also, we have community forum leaders who have action plans to help raise awareness about gender-based violence and to reduce it in the society. We have also seminars for women to raise awareness about their health, their rights, and different aspects of women's rights according to Iraqi law. Also, we provide women hygiene kits, which includes most of women needs in a box. That's it. Thank you.
Speaking now is Asma Abu Ali, who is doing her master's in marketing and operation sales. She is currently the president of the Student Ambassadors for Peace Agadir Chapter. She will be talking about her EWOS, Empowering Women of Sousse. Asma, the stage is all yours. And it's on.
Oh, thank you. So, hi everybody, I'm Asma Abu Ali and I'm 22. So, my initiative is the EWOS, it's Empowering Women of Sousse. So our ultimate goal is to help the rural women to get a stable source of income. So it is said that if you're good at something, don't do it for free. So we are helping these women to get the best. So how? The question is how? Is by enhancing their business skills. So to do so, we started giving and engaging them in workshops. And as a student with the management and business background, so we organize workshops. It contains warm-up questions and case stories. So, in short, we want to create and promote a social business opportunity to help them get financially independent. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Asma. Last but not least, speaking in my panel today is Daniel Barakat. Daniel is a social entrepreneur from Israel who currently runs the youth venture of Ashoka in Israel. He will be telling us about his initiative, Mark, which I think is pretty unique. Come on up and tell them why. Pretty unique.
So I'm honored to give the very last speech of today. Honestly, how many of you checked your Facebook accounts today during the panels? Be honest. The truth is, if we count collectively as a humanity, we spend 700 million of human hours every day on Facebook alone. That's enough to build the Empire State Building 100 times every single day. Imagine if we take even a fraction of this number and put it in the service of social good. This is why we created Mark for. Mark is a mobile app designed to change the way people change the world, anytime, anywhere, for any cause. We utilize the combined power of people and technology to create a meaningful impact on a large scale using everyday simple action. If we can take your spare 5 minutes, along with the technology that's in your pocket, and use it to map all the buildings that are accessible to people with disabilities in your city, or all the life-saving emergency kit, or just report this racist graffiti on the street, or even just learn a language in sign language, learn a sentence in sign language, then we can affect and even save the lives of thousands of people as easy as applying a filter on Instagram. The big idea is to create a new zone.
Take a breath. You can take a breath.
Okay. Yeah, I'm talking fast. So the big idea is to create a new zone for people to make a meaningful impact and leave their mark. We raised $250,000 as a seed money to develop the app, which we are currently doing. So Mark is aspired to be the next generation of making an impact. It's today's way of creating a better tomorrow. So let us help you leave your mark. Thank you.
Thank you, my awesome speakers. And please, audience, will you join me in thanking them again for being so awesome? All right, so now it's time for Q&A. I've got some questions that I wanted to ask, and I think some of you might share my questions. My question to you, it's a common question. So personally, I would like to know in a minute or so, what exactly motivated or inspired each of you to do what you're doing now, like starting an initiative, what motivated you? And maybe name one major hurdle or obstacle that you faced and had to overcome to be where you are today. And starting with maybe Touria, do you want to start?
I might sound a little selfish, but I was my inspiration to start my business. No, I'll explain why. When I was in college, before college, I did nothing related to civil society or volunteering. And so when I was in college, I was really amazed by how much you can do just by volunteering your time, which is all you have when you're still young and you're a student. And you only use it to go to cafes or to parties and do practically nothing interesting. And so I started volunteering with a lot of NGOs and clubs in college. And by the time I finished my studies, it was easy for me to get into grad school. It was easy for me to get my first job at UNDP. And it was easy for me to get accepted to fellowships. And I didn't plan for this to happen. I didn't plan to gain all these skills, and it just happened. So my goal through SIDE is to help young people plan this for them. Use volunteering as a learning experience so they can have the soft skills to get life easier for them, to getting jobs or getting into graduate school or whatever opportunity they're looking for, much easier for them.
And like one hurdle or one obstacle that you had to face, one major one? You had none?
No, of course we haven't. I think one major obstacle, and someone already talked about this in one of the previous panels, is the family. I think we, especially girls, we have this problem among our families. They don't really believe in volunteering. They don't really believe in giving much of your time, like staying up late at night, having meetings and everything. So I had to try a lot to convince my family about what I want to do. And I faced the same thing with the students I work with and with the young people I work with, because we are in two different planets, young people and their families. And we don't really have the same kind of seeing things. We don't really like the same jobs. We don't have the same definition of life and success. So yeah, one major obstacle, I think, is the relationship with the family.
Preach it to the choir, I don't know what. I would say
preach it to the choir, because I had the same thing when I started my own initiative.
The motivation, I had so many motivations for that. I shared two, my friends. And my family also encouraged me. I rose up in a very liberal family that allowed me to read whatever I want, to go wherever I want, and to do whatever I want. So that helped me a lot. Also, I was introduced to a very famous feminist, Egyptian feminist. Her name is Nawal Saadawi, and I consider her my idol. Also, volunteering job helped me a lot with that. So that's the motivation part. The challenges and obstacles I face are so many. I think they are countless. Personally, so many friends they just leave me because I'm a feminist. and they stand against me because I work for women's rights. Also, as Suda, we were attacked by guns once because we asked for a woman to travel outside of Iraq because she was getting beaten by her husband every day in front of her kids. And so her husband and his brothers, they attacked Asuda, but nobody was injured. We are all safe. And I think this explains so much about. Okay, it's okay. This explains a lot about how difficult working on GPV is in our country. Thank you.
So my motivation is I've always wanted to share my knowledge with others, and simply because, first of all, during my education, I've been taught in French, and we are Moroccan. We study everything in foreign languages. And since that I'm studying business also in foreign language, so I said that I can really convey what I'm studying to others who couldn't really speak other languages except theirs. So this is what we're doing. We're translating in their native language. So, and the obstacle that I face is my family, actually, because we've been, commuting. It was usually on Saturdays, and I'm a girl and traveling alone, and my family got worried about it, and he said that you can just do that on every Saturday. You have school, and how can you? I said, okay, well, I'm flexible, I can do it. So that's all.
So my motivation was the understanding that on one hand we have people with the very busy life but aspiration to do something good for the world. Like they want to do something, they want to be involved, but they don't know exactly what to do and how to do it, and they don't have the time to go through volunteering and actually passing all those barriers. On the other hand, we have big social issues we have to solve somehow, and if we can create an innovative solution to make this resource available for social change, then we can create something that we can apply this resource to every single social problem in the world and have probably, hopefully, great impact. As for the obstacle, we didn't launch yet, so I'm not sure what our obstacles are going to be. I can name two that I'm kind of sure we're going to face. The first one is we really want to keep the content on a very, very high level. We want it to be actual influence and impact on the world. We don't want to create like another ice bucket challenge over and over again. So we're facing like sort of our own high barrier of creating really high content, and that's difficult. The second one that we think we're going to face, it's the fact that we're quite sure that we will be able to attract people to use the app for 1 time or 2 times, but the question of how can we make them come again and again and create sort of consistency of people that are doing this like 1 time a week or so, stuff like that, that's a harder question that we think we have a direction to solve, but we're not really sure yet.
Thank you for your replies. That was it for me, basically. So I'm opening the floor for you guys to ask questions. Just raise your hands. And this is the mic. That is working. The other one is not.
Hello. Hi. My question is for Daniel. I was wondering if people have responded to your initiative with the criticism of collectivism and armchair activism and these kinds of like non-committed forms of social activism, and how you respond, and if you see sort of like any validity to that concern.
So yes, we got that response, and I have 2 answers for this. The first one is we really want to avoid collectivism in a way that we want the action to be meaningful. We're not going to have people only signing a petition that nobody is going to read. We're not going to have people only like a post on Facebook. We want to create something that really helps somebody else on the other side. And thus, it's not collectivism, it's actually making a change. The second answer is, we're going for people that are currently not involved at all. So it's not like taking the people that are already volunteer and making them do something less meaningful. We're going to the population that are not involved at all, and we offer them a way of being involved at somehow. So even if it's collectivism, it's still better than nothing at all, I think. Especially if we build on this a bridge to more meaningful involvement in later stages.
Thank you for all of you. It was a great panel. My question is for Ayaz. Can you tell me one of the successful stories you had from your project? Thank you.
So one of the successful stories was, well, a 14 years old girl came to our seminars, one of the seminars we give to raise awareness, and she told us that her parents are not letting her go to school because they are afraid that she will be harassed by taxi drivers, by people on the streets, and etc. After we spoke to our parents, we invited them to Asuda, and they met our social workers and our psychologists, and now the girl is in the school, and she's one of the smart students. Nice. So that was.
Hi, my question is for Touria. So I was wondering if you could talk about the distinction, I guess, like in Morocco, internships being considered like a thing if it's for a business, but it sounds like volunteering is usually how people think of like working for NGOs. So you touched on there being barriers. Could you talk about what some of those barriers are for working for NGOs being considered like an internship or legitimate experience?
One thing that surprises me when I started working with young people is that they don't know that they can be interns with NGOs. They just don't know. And we have a platform in Morocco called tenmia.ma that like gives internship opportunities for people in NGOs, but a lot of people don't know about it yet. And when I say volunteering, I don't really I'm not talking only about taking a position in an NGO, but just doing stuff like volunteering 1 day a week or on the weekends or whatever. I don't know if I answered your question, but if you, is it fine? Okay. So I need to.
Okay, I have a question to my friend from Iraq. Even in Turkey, it is very hard for a man to say that I'm a feminist, but I believe that you're doing an excellent job. So I just want to say that and ask that: did you face with a woman criticize you, or every woman has a feminist side in herself? Did you understand?
Yeah. Thank you. So I believe every woman should have a feminist aspect in her personality, because at the end feminism is a movement to support women and support men. For women criticizing me, so many women criticize me because they think that I say I am a feminist to get closer to girls, but that's not true. That's it.
By the way, David is doing an amazing job. Thank you, David.
My question is to Asma. We had an amazing AMENDS fellow, Nargis Aziran. Hi, Nargis. Sorry you couldn't make it. So she's working on the same aspect of empowering women, especially the ones who are victims of violence, especially by their families or husbands. And I'm wondering if you're dealing with some similar cases, like the women that you're trying to empower through developing businesses and being financially dependent are the victims of violence. And if they were not, did the participation with your project made them suffer from their male partners?
Yeah, okay, thank you for your question. Well, actually, we can't talk just globally because every woman has his own case, okay? So, and the thing is, I can say, I'm aware of it, that conservatism and our culture is more powerful than my project, because even there are some women who wants to be submitted, even they are beaten by their husband. They accept that. And if they, it's up to them, okay? We are raising the challenge. It's up to them to choose whether to be totally independent, not even financially, or not, okay? So it depends, because there are some women, and I witnessed this, that women who were highly financially independent, and they were mistreated and misbehaved by their spouses. And then they got divorced. And the thing is, they were rejected by their own families. So it depends on every case of a woman. So this is what I can tell about your question, if I was clear enough.
What I meant is, did your project help in saving women from violence by being financially dependent through developing a business? Yeah, the thing is, when in my the first sessions, women told me that, when I started my business and get sort of money, I don't ask for allowance anymore to my husband. Oh, that makes me proud. So this is an accurate fact that I'm telling you now. And do you face judgments or negative feedback from men by you empowering women? Well, till now I haven't really. Yeah. Thank you.
My question is to Iyaz. First question is, how many women are involved in your initiative, and how many women actually occupy leadership positions in your initiative? And also, have you ever been criticized by another feminist for being a man and also being a feminist? Because I think this is also a very contested question. Because I think every man has privileges, and I think you being able in your own community to advocate for women's rights is telling of the privileges that we enjoy as men in our communities. So how do you approach that? The third question is, at least in the Palestinian... Okay. The last question is, and I invite everyone to respond to that, because I think it's been a question that I've been wrestling with for a while. At least in many of the Arab countries, the feminist discourse is such a privileged one, meaning that only certain people who have access to a certain type of education can actually have discussions about feminism, while the rest of the communities are actually, not even in a stage of questioning the women's rights in the society. So how do we create spaces that are more accessible for different segments of the community? I'm sorry, these are
the last question is very complicated. You'll explain them, right?
No, I was saying good questions.
Okay, I'm gonna answer the first question. The second and I already forgot the second question, but the third question, you'll explain it to me. So how many women we serve in the project? Beneficiaries, we have a certain number of women that we will serve. It's 1,200 women. So far we reached around 900 women. This is only for direct services because I told you we have legal, psychological, social support, and we also have seminars. 1,200 women only for direct services. But for hygiene kits and for social awareness seminars, we have different numbers. For how many women are engaged in the project, I am the project manager, and I can say 75% of the people who are working with me are women. And also, we have in the community forums, we have 50% of the community forum are women, and 50 are men, 50 are Syrians, and 50 are Iraqis, because this project focuses on women refugees. What was your second question? You can be a man and be anything. It doesn't matter.
Okay, this is like more like a common question for everyone over here from all the panels of the organizations we're representing with respect to sustainability of your organization. How do you see a scenario where there's another organization in your community working on exactly the same cause? How do you tackle this scene? Do you collaborate? Do you work on different projects? How do you tackle this with respect to sustainability of the work of the products you're working on? So it's a common question to everyone, and especially the panel over here right now.
Should I start? We actually in Asuda we have UN meetings. All the NGOs in the city goes to weekly meetings, and we work with coordination to other NGOs. So we don't have. I can't think of any NGO that is doing this project. But if an NGO has an office somewhere else, we have a referral system. They refer the legal cases, the social cases, the psychological cases to us.
Okay, so actually my answer is very simple. If I do what I can do better. I mean, if they're doing the exact same thing, I found where my core strengths are, and I focus there, and I do a better job at this, and then we can create together a larger impact. I mean, that's what we'll do. In terms of the name, so it really depends on the type of the organization, but what I would suggest is like, do what you do under your organization the best and leave them to do what they can do the best, and then there is no issues with branding and stuff like that.
Well,
did you forget the question?
Okay, I'm answering. Okay, so in fact, we are collaborating with the Peace Corps organization, and we got the materials from them. And also, we are planning to, to have a lot of different projects together, according to empowering not only women but girls, leading outwards too.
I think in our not so developed countries, there's room for everyone. So if we happen to know how to collaborate, synergy is always good. But if like somehow we have different visions or different ways of doing things, there is room for everyone. And I would say what we say in Enactus, when we all compete to improve the world, we all win. So.
Thank you all for being a lovely audience.